Hey, this is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boyz Podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst boys. I mean, I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Well, whatever.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!
What's going on, everybody? Cowboys Nation, how are you? How you feeling out there? It is Dave Sturchio. It is Bret Ernst. And of course, it is Keith Ernst. It is the Jersey Boyz Podcast right here on the Chop Sports YouTube channel. And of course, the Premier Podcast Network. Gentlemen, the unthinkable happened over the last course of this month, of calendar month of football. The Philadelphia Eagles decided to stop playing football. The Dallas Cowboys continued to play football, weather a couple storms. And here we are as the number 2 seed in the NFC East champions, which now again goes towards the no repeat champion since 2004, which is it's just insane. Like, there's not been one dominant team in all the years that the NFC East has been around, at least in the past 20. But yeah, so the Cowboys are NFC East champions. The game obviously went down the way we needed it to go down. The Cowboys defeat the Washington Commanders. Start with Keith. Your knee-jerk reaction to not only just watching the Commanders, kind of just they were up for the game for about a minute and a half, it felt like. And it felt like, of course, go back in the group chat, I'm sure there was a couple times where I'm like, I'll save my shit, won't say what I want to say, blah, 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 right? I refuse to be a walking receipt this week, but I'll throw it to you first, bro. How you feeling about this, man?
Well, I just want to say that I did have to walk Sturch off a cliff in the very beginning of the game.
As always, bro. As always.
It starts probably like 5 minutes before, where it's just, are they going to win one for Ron because he's going to get fired? Oh shit, Tyler Smith and Zach Martin aren't playing. Just
Ron Rivera's birthday.
Ron Rivera's birthday. A lot went into it, but we ended up, he ended up calming down and coming around. So it was no, man, my knee-jerk reaction. One thing I noticed is, and I brought it up in the past, and I know it was Washington. And let's be honest, I mean, they did, their defensive line, they dn't start a lot of their defense. I know they
traded them away throughout the season. So like they were just kept dishing off pieces.
Yeah. But their offense had pretty much all their starters that were healthy. But I would say the most impressive was us not collapsing. Like I said, when bad things happen to us in games, especially away, our team collapses, and it's hard for us to rebound usually. And we had to block field goal, and then we had the Dak interception, and it just seemed like, okay, maybe it's going to be one of those games. And it didn't happen. Not only it didn't happen, we just beat the shit out of them right after that.
Right. So like pissed off at it. You're like, God damn it. They just went nuts.
Yeah. So that's the one thing. And then also I did watch the condensed version.
I should go back and do that.
But I only watched it to watch the linebackers again. And like I said, it's still worrisome for me. I hate to pick on Damone Clark, but watching him, he did have one or two decent plays, but most of the time, he's not filling the holes, and he looks like he's afraid to hit a little bit.
He's also undersized. What I mean? Like he ain't your prototypical Ray Lewis. You know what I'm saying?
He's not. And when you're watching him, you can see it. It's like he's trying to get there, and he'd rather somebody hit the guy besides him. That's what it looks like when I'm watching the plays. Now he could be there because he seems to be in the right spot. So he could be a very intelligent player.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's one thing, so that, nobody ever thinks about that. You got to be you got to be smart to play middle linebacker.
That's coaching too. That's also coaching.
Yeah. So,
which by the way, we'll get into all Dan Quinn stuff. He's got about 15 requests for interviews. So
yeah. So those are mine. Those are mine. That's what popped out the most for me.
Bret, you were the one that kind of went out on a limb in the beginning of the season with your predictions and all that stuff. And you said, Dak's going to ball out this year. Dak's going to be the guy this year. And sure as shit, had not Lamar Jackson have some rushing yards and a better record by a game, I think Dak would be MVP of the season. Now, the Cowboys knew what was ahead of them in that game, where you win and you win the division. Yeah, did Philadelphia completely get destroyed by the Giants? Yeah, we would have won the division anyway, but we get the 2 instead of the 3. Right, that 2 seed is so pivotal right now when you think about long term. I'm not getting there yet, but Your analysis on Dak Prescott after the interception, kind of just keeping his composure and just doing his thing. He ends the year.
I mean, look, it was tipped. It was tipped. It wasn't. I mean, look, a quarterback's going to mess up. I mean, I don't think there's ever been a quarterback without an interception. You know what I mean? It's just part of the game. But again, I was telling Keith afterwards, this is the only season when he's back to pass, I'm not nervous.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when he drops back to pass, I'm like, it doesn't make me go, oh shit.
Right.
You know? And, no, he's just been playing excellent. I mean, I think the new Texas Toast, or whatever the hell they called it, Texas Coast offense, which is just the West Coast. I think this new scheme fits him. So that's been a benefit. But again, it was a good win, solid win. I mean, it's what you want to see going into the playoffs. I was more happy that Pollard was running pretty well, which was good to see. Rico ran pretty well.
Rico was an asset out of the backfield too.
Say what?
I said Rico was a great asset catching screen passes too. He caught a couple.
Pollard was catching balls too, and even our offensive line was playing pretty well. So that's what I really was glad to see. I mean, instead of reiterating the worries about middle linebacker, but other than that, I mean, this is a great win, man. This has been one of the best seasons we've had in a long time.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. This season was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun. It went through its trials and tribulations. We got the doors blown off us in San Francisco. We had that unreal shitty loss to Arizona, right? Then you had the inches loss against Philadelphia, and then you lose 2 in a row with Miami and Buffalo, and we start questioning, all right, what's happening here? Is it just road woes? It's just like, well, what's the problem? But Dak Prescott, to his credit, man, he finished his third in yards with over 4,500. He just finished behind Jared Goff and Tua, 69.5 completion percentage, which is the best in football. So, like, right off the rip, that's why you're not worried about when he's dropping back.
What about Aubrey Maddock? Now, if he would have made those two, has there ever been a perfect season for a kicker?
I'm not sure if there was ever a perfect season with that many field goals. Like, there's probably guys that went like 12 of 12 or some shit, and then maybe got replaced, and then I don't know. But I don't know. Obviously, the one gets blocked. It counts as a miss. Then he goes up there, misses another one. I don't know if anybody saw this, and I'm like glued to the TV, so I never really miss unless I'm texting you guys or tweeting. I'm usually like right on par with what's happening in real time. I don't know if you noticed this, but after the touchdown or after they are about to settle for the 3, Dak Prescott's on the sidelines talking to Mike McCarthy, and the camera pans to McCarthy after the miss, and McCarthy says, you could see his lips. He goes, "What happened?" Like, like he had no idea that we just missed a field goal. Worrisome? I don't know. Joking? They were already up 35 or 33 or whatever the fuck it was.
Well, you don't want this guy getting the yips, getting into the damn postseason. But on the flip side, the odds of him keep making and making and making. I mean, if he's going to miss, this is the game to miss and then start the streak over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, look, there was the block field goal. Nothing you could do about a block field goal. That's just blocking. That's on Bones Fossil to get his boys, ready to go on that. But a miss, yeah. Was it also like, I think Burkhart said it on the broadcast, like, do you want them to get down the field to attempt another field goal just to get that, get it back? You know what I mean? Get that shit back. And they did. They went out there and they kicked another field goal to get him out of there. And that's when you texted, you're like, well, he's good. We're good. We're back. He's all good. No worries. But to go back to Dak, 36 touchdowns.
Wait. And then he missed one after that.
What?
He missed the field. One doinked out.
I thought he doinked and then made one.
No, he made one. He missed.
Yeah, he made one to end the game.
Yeah. But then he missed another one.
No. The doink came prior, and then he made another one at the end of the game to make it 38-10.
Oh, gotcha. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so the yips were a no factor, right? There was no yips.
Gotcha. I see what you're saying. All right, my bad.
Dak Prescott, 36 touchdowns, led the league, 105.9, just behind Brock Purdy in QBR. So look, Dak had himself a fantastic year. Now, nothing else matters except what's ahead of him, right? Yeah, I mean, was there a little like, listen, Jalen Hurts turned out to be Dr. Seuss. I don't know if you guys have listened to some of his fucking post-game interviews, win or loss. He's always like, it just doesn't matter how many times you get knocked down. It's about how many times you get back up. Shit like that. Like the speech of what you say when you're either down or out. But Dak Prescott, after with Aaron Andrews, they're like, "Where's your hat?" He's like, "Nah, none of this division stuff. I got bigger aspirations." And I, like, me being a Dak Prescott fan, I was like, "That's so cool." But at the end,
Giddy.
Yeah. So it's like, and then at the end of it, I'm just like, "What a cornball." It's like, it's still cool. Obviously, we're in a good position right now. But yeah, Keith, in the beginning of the year, Richard Sherman had called out CeeDee Lamb not being an accurate number one receiver. Do you now, after one full season where CeeDee Lamb decided to set all the Cowboys' individual season records, which, by the way, he did in 16 games, not 17, so nobody can hold that over him in case he broke. Like, a lot of these guys are breaking records in the 17th game, and I'm just like, that to me, that you're giving him a whole extra game to do something. But he did it in 16. Is CeeDee Lamb right now, going into the playoffs, the best wide receiver in football?
Yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think of
Tyreek Hill is in the conversation because of the fact that he's so fast. But every time I watch Tyreek Hill, I feel like that he's a one-trick pony. If he's not slanting over the middle.
I don't know. No. See, this is where I'll say I don't know. I mean, it could be the system he's in as well. You know, I mean, we got to give credit to McCarthy, which and the offense he's running right now. We have to. Yeah. I mean, that could have something to do with it because, CeeDee Lamb, he didn't have these numbers last season. No. So and he's having them now. So I wouldn't go that far to say, Tyreek Hill. I know Tyreek Hill still might be the best.
Do you credit any more success? Yeah. Do you credit any more of CeeDee Lamb's success? Obviously, Dak Prescott's playing very well and is probably his best season of his life. But what I also want to say is, you traded a 7th round draft pick for a Brandon Cooks who wasn't turning it on in the beginning, but all of a sudden it's every game he gets open in the corner of the end zone. Do you credit a lot of CeeDee Lamb's success because you got to pay attention to a guy like Cooks? Because we really haven't had a triple threat at wide receiver in quite some time.
Yeah, no, that helps, man. I mean, they can, but I just think CeeDee Lamb with his route running and the separation he's getting.
The quick release.
Like, it's almost like, how is he so wide open every time?
Right.
I mean, and he'll catch a contested ball. Yeah. But I mean, most of the time, it's and that's part of the game too. I mean, if you look at Jerry Rice, he had a lot of contested catches, but a lot of times it was crisp route running and just, being in the right spot at the right time, and that's not easy to do all the time. So no, very impressive. And Cooks, and that's the thing too, if you remember, that's why everyone was screaming to get a number 2. And I remember you were Sturch. And I remember you saying that we need somebody, we need someone else. And I thought the receivers we had were fine, with CeeDee Lamb, but obviously, the Brandon Cooks pickup was amazing because I don't know if we could tell if those other receivers would have succeeded with McCarthy instead of Moore, but regardless, whatever they're doing, whatever they got, it's working. The only thing the only offseason move we didn't do that I thought hurt our offense is trying not to get Zeke back for $3 million. But let me ask you a question, Pollard. Sturch about Pollard. Tony Pollard's here, everyone.
Yeah. Hey, welcome, special guest.
But yeah, how much did he get on the franchise tag? Pollard?
10 mil. 10.
Damn, that's
10.9.
So that's why you couldn't bring Zeke back even for $3 million because you're putting $13 million already in the running back room.
Right. And last year, bro, it was up in the 20s. You know what I mean? So it's like
right.
It was
really couldn't, but
anyway, it was rough. But
so forget that.
Bret, you alluded to Tony Pollard with a couple angry runs. Are you more confident now going into the Packer game? Obviously, we'll touch on that in a little bit, but I know I was pretty much saying like, all right, Tony Pollard's he's not a RB1. Are you more confident that he can do it? Or do you think that they just really need to do a double dose, like more of a Tony Pollard Rico split to get success on the ground?
All right. Before I answer your question, I looked it up. So Mike Vanderjagt had for the Colts in 2003 had 37 field goals, perfect field goals. Then Gary Anderson in 1998 had 35. And then Seattle, the last one to go perfect was Jason Myers in Seattle was in 2020 with 24 field goals. So Brandon Aubrey going into week 17 had 35 field goals, no misses. So if he would have broke the record, if he would have made those two and plus the one he didn't, he would have had 38, which would have put him one field goal over Vanderjagt. But right now, he tied Gary Anderson in Minnesota, 35.
Bro, Gary Anderson, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is like the all-time leading scorer, like in the NFL.
He's
Like,
like
he has
70. He was still kicking.
Wait, was that Morton Anderson or Gary Anderson?
No, Gary
maybe it was
Anderson. Morton Anderson was older than Gary.
Yeah, Morton.
It was Gary Clark.
Yeah.
Bro, remember he was the one with the one bar across that was his face mask because he was like, I'm not getting touched. Fuck it.
Well, no, he had his helmet on from when he first started his career. It was a leather helmet. He never changed it.
He didn't give a shit.
And shout out to all those guys. Shout out to all those guys who kicked barefoot back in the day. Like, are you fucking nuts? Like,
dude, they were great. Look, the guy who had the longest field goal ever had a half a foot.
Yeah.
I fucking stubbed my toe on a catch and counter and I want to die. Like, these guys are kicking rock hard footballs in the middle of winter with no fucking shoes on. Are you kidding? Anyway, but
I think we keep the tandem going. I mean, it seems to be working. Plus it keeps the defense on its toes on who's in personnel wise. I'm glad Tyron Smith and we have our full starting offensive line going into the playoffs. Hopefully we keep them all the way through. But yeah,
Zach Martin was a little interesting considering like he was a go and then all of a sudden he's like, nah, he's too sick. He even traveled with the team. Like I was
fine. Let him rest.
Yeah, I understand that. And I understand that the opponent was not much of a threat on their defensive line, which, by the way, give the shout out and all the flowers to the backup offensive line. They played great.
That's what I was saying, man. I mean, that was the most impressive thing that I was seeing. But, like Keith pointed out, it's not their starters, but, it's still the NFL. So they played pretty well. Assignment blocking was great. And that definitely helped the run game.
Yeah. So now, obviously, and the one other thing, the defensive side of the ball, we forced some turnovers, which felt good, right? Micah Parsons was getting in on a lot of the snaps. DeMarcus Lawrence, who, again, we didn't really talk about it last week, but major snub. I know the Pro Bowl doesn't matter anymore. It's not the same as what it used to be, but man, I feel like he should have made it, but he didn't. So the defense forces turnovers. That's good. It was Sam Howell. He did lead the league in picks, so it's not like it was a catastrophic thing. Like, I can't believe they did that. Like, they just needed to do everything, which leads you now to the playoffs. And the last thing I'll say about the Redskin game is the fact that Mike McCarthy didn't call a bad game, and it didn't make me worry at all. There was multiple times where I'm just like, when they got down to the 2 or the 1, you're like, here comes the fucking play action pass for no reason whatsoever. But instead, they pounded the rock and they scored touchdowns. And I was like, oh, okay. They're like, maybe it took 18 weeks for him to figure out that we can get a yard on the ground. You know what I mean? Like, Dak doesn't have to throw at all times. This isn't look, the team itself goes through the pass. We'll get into the stats and specifics in a little bit because it's very apparent. But yeah, here comes the matchup. Now, is this the matchup we all wanted? I think we were all in unison of saying we didn't want the Rams. Right. Now, one thing I have to say is we did avoid a major injury with Stephon Gilmore. He's going to wear a harness and play, so he's going to be bump and run with everybody else. That was big because in come the Packers with a very, very young, fast wide receiver core. One kid out of Rutgers. Christian Watson is day-to-day. Romeo Doubs is day-to-day. They're banged up. They're banged up. But everybody who stepped in for the Packers throughout the course of the back end of the year when they got hot have been good. So when you look at the Packers, Keith, and I've done some of the research that you normally would have done prior to this of looking at the Packers, of where these guys rank. Can you tell me the Packers? I'll start with their offense because that's, they got to score some points. Total offense for the Green Bay Packers was what?
Total offense or where they're ranked?
Total offense.
I'd say total yards. That you mean total yards for their offense, right?
Well, I broke it down. There's passing, there's rushing, and there's scoring offense. But like,
why don't we just do ranking, buddy?
All right, then you can rank them. Then fuck everything.
Well, no, hold on. Do you have the ranking in front of you?
I have what their total offense is.
All right, so total yards.
All right, so he did the research. He's got it.
All right.
I'm just saying.
I would say they average around 335 yards a game.
Well, that ranks them in total offense. The Packers are 11th in the NFL.
So it is 11. Okay, that's what I was asking. So 11th. So they're 11th then. Okay, so we'll do the rankings, not the total yards. Okay.
Sorry, that's what I meant. Yeah. So
All right.
all that fucking nonsense, and it was just the rankings.
But was that? Did I get the numbers right or no?
No, I didn't write down the numbers specifically. I just
I'm
wanted
your stats.
I'm just saying I wanted to see where we're at. Fuck.
I'm
the Dallas
confused. So you wanted to?
Why is this so confusing?
What the fuck? You want us to guess their yards in passing a game?
I don't want anybody guessing yards. That was Keith who guessed
You
yards.
just want to guess their rank.
Yes, the rank, man. The rank.
All right. So that's the offense. Let me do the defense now.
Total defense.
I just
Ranked
looked it up.
defense.
You were right, bro. Right.
Oh, what's
right,
the total yards? Okay.
345 yards a game.
I said something like that. All right. So I'd
Which
say
falls to 11th.
I would say defense, they're ranked 18.
17. Pretty damn close, bro. So 17th to the Dallas total defense of being ranked 5th overall. This is all right. So this is where we're at here now. I look at the Packers. The Cowboys finished 5th in passing defense and 16th in rushing defense, which obviously we know that the bugaboo for the Dallas Cowboys this year was stopping the run. However, the passing defense for the Green Bay Packers is what, Keith?
I want to say that my bugaboo is you saying fucking bugaboo. All right. Can you fucking stop saying that, please?
I'm
That's the most generic word ever. Like, where is that even from?
I don't know. I've heard that I've heard bugaboo for years.
Bugaboo. I'm that.
I'm bugaboo. Anyway.
Bro, have you ever heard that before? Before we met Sturch? It sounds familiar. But is that like a 1920 word or something?
There was bugaboos and there was the bugaloos that you're thinking of. Remember the bugaloos? They're there and they're everywhere.
Do I sound like a 40s like murder mystery
sitcom?
Man, the bugaboo, see?
It's a bugaboo. All right. So what was your question again? Sorry.
Passing defense. Where do the Packers rank?
Oh, passing defense. I would say 11.
9th.
Okay.
But here we go. This is the big one here. Okay. The Dallas Cowboys, while we are a little concerned, and I still am, about the rush defense being 16th. Keith, where does the Packers result in 2023 in rush defense?
I would say 20.
28th.
Wow.
In rush defense. Now, that's why I asked Bret, are you cool with Pollard and Rico? Because if I'm the Cowboys, I mean, it's clear as day where the Packers struggle, and it's against the run. We thought we were bad. These guys are literally almost dead last. There's only a couple teams behind them. So do you think that changes anything, Bret, when it comes to offensive game planning, just based off the numbers? Look, the NFL is an analytical thing, right? I mean, a lot of people just look at these numbers and they game plan around that.
I mean, look, when they're predicting passing, as long as Pollard can run like he, at least at 90% of what he's good at, we should be fine. I mean, when you're looking through the playoff team, I'm assuming the Ravens probably have the best run defense. Is that correct?
I mean, I don't know. I wrote down the Cowboys and Packers, but
they have the best rush offense. I know that. The Ravens have the best rush offense.
So if we're looking let's see, total offense, passing, who has the best rushing? Yeah, Ravens have 156 yards a game. And then it's the Bears.
I was just going to say that, bro, because I was watching the condensed version of the Bears-Packer game last night, and they said that when the Bears are playing against them, they're like, yeah, they said that the Bears.
First of all, the best part about this is, like, if you ask any guy, like, who has to live.
I was watching the condensed version.
No, but I'm saying, if you ask any guy, like, who has to live with a significant other, a wife, girlfriend, whatever, right? And you're like, what'd you guys watch last night? Oh my God, the Netflix has this, and oh my God, this, that. If you ask Keith Ernst what he did on a Monday night, he watches the condensed version of football games.
Bro, he's a fucking savage, this kid. Yeah, he's got notes, everything. And he's got the blackboard with the X's and O's, and he's like, all right. He's like Vince Lombardi talking to my granddaughters.
I'm gonna.
All right, we got a bugaboo here.
I'm going to recreate the fuck around and find out meme with the guy doing the chart and put fucking Keith's face on him.
But I was saying what I was saying is that they brought up the Bears defense being number one, and I'm like, okay, let's see how and I wanted to see how the Packers did. And the Packers, they kind of shut them down. But, and I sent the text about Fields, maybe a little too soon. I gave him the Ernst curse, where I was like, Fields is lighting it up right now. And he was on target. Then they just fell apart.
Well,
okay.
Sorry. My point was, we're talking about rushing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When you're looking at rushing offenses, you have the 49ers are 3, the Lions are 5, the Eagles are 8, the Rams are 11, and then there's the Cowboys at 14 and Packers at 15. So most of the playoff teams are ahead of us when it comes to their rushing offense, right? So I
was going to say the rushing offense is 14 and 15, right? Like respectively, Cowboys,
and
Packers.
Looking at rushing defense, that's going to be worrisome going into the playoffs, because you have these teams that are really good at running that we're probably going to face. I mean, we're going to at least face. Go ahead.
Right, but what I'm saying is, like, the Packers' run defense, like, as much as shitty as, I don't want to say shitty, Pollard goes over for 1,000 yards. I know 1,000 yards is kind of taboo at this point. It's just like, whatever, everybody gets 1,000 yards. But, with the Packers being as bad as they are against the run, maybe that, the 16th.
But are they that bad? Like what Keith brought up, they did pretty good against the Bears. I mean, you got to understand these statistics. There's analytics and there's statistics. We talk about this all the time. So a lot of these yards may be when the team's ahead, when they're in prevent. You never know how they're accumulating these yards. But the way the Packers played against the Bears, I mean, dude, they played really well, man. I mean, they shut them down. But now, again, the Bears don't have passing game we do. You know what I mean? They're like 27th. So, the Packers have to be aware. They have to be on their toes. I mean, about both more than they did against the Bears. But, I don't think it's going to be – I think, we should definitely stick to our passing game.
I mean, like I said,
it's balance. We're balanced most games, right?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part we are, but sometimes, like, look, I think the key to every big Cowboys game, and this goes back to all the stuff at home. Like, look, the Packers were 4-5, just like the Dallas Cowboys on the road, right? So, but they also only won 9 games, where the Cowboys, went 8-0 at home. The average margin of victory at home for the Cowboys this year has been incredible, right? I mean, outside of the Seattle and the Detroit game, we were running teams out of town, and that's all well and good, because you should do that if you're a good team. I look at the spread. Again, this is why Vegas does it. It's the numbers and the computers and all that shit, and Bret knows more than this than I do. But the Cowboys are favored by a touchdown. A 7.5 point spread right now with an over/under of 50.5. The Packers went 9-8 against the spread. The Cowboys went 10-7. So out of their 12-5 record, they went 10-7 against the spread. So they covered 10 times out of their 12 wins. Great. Which, by the way, I did bring this up. I want to bring this up because I think it's fascinating. Can you, Bret, off the top of your head, the Cardinals went 4-13, right? 4-13. So they had a miserable year. Can you guess what they did against the spread, though? I mean, without looking at the schedule and shit, but like, it's just kind of.
I would have to. I mean, look, just if you would have phrased this differently. I mean, now looking, I'm assuming they did really well, because
they did.
When you have a losing record like they do, but they play teams tough, so I'm pretty sure that if you're taking them with the points, you might have covered a good amount. So
the Arizona
I would
Cardinals,
say they covered 12 times.
They went 9-8 against the spread, but a 4-13 record. So 5 times out of those, out of all those losses, they were in it right there, right? Whatever the spread was. And the opposite way, the 49ers, who were the number 1 seed in the NFC, went 12-5 this year, just like the Cowboys. They were 9-7-1 against the spread. So like, they played a lot tighter games than the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys, obviously, like I said, 10-7 against the spread. But I only say this, the spread stuff, because, and everybody that you're talking to and everybody you hear on the TV and the national media, I really feel like they're just setting this up right now. And maybe I'm just, PTSD with this team. Maybe they're like, everybody's like, the Cowboys have the second out of the NFC matchups, which there's 3 of them. The Cowboys are the second easiest. The Eagles having it the easiest right now with the Bucks. but the Cowboys matchup is very well, right there as far as ease. And I'm like, can we stop that shit? Because I mean, it's like, can we? There's a mixed crowd. What do you mean?
That we have an easy path.
He's saying the national consensus.
The national media. I listened to Boomer Esiason on the way into work today, and he's saying that the Cowboys, have the second easiest game in the NFC bracket. And then you talk to, you listen to Craig Carton, who's over on FS1. He's national media. He likes the clicks. Don't get me wrong. But he said the Cowboys should just run away with this one. And I'm just like,
no.
Boy, oh boy. Like, I'm just trying to figure it all out. Like, Jordan Love this year.
You got to realize, even when they're saying they have the easiest, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's a bad team either. They're just comparing all the teams.
Fine, fair.
You see what I'm saying? But them coming out and saying we should run away with it, yeah, that's their feeling. I mean, you are what you are, and what we've done at home. I don't think that's crazy for somebody to say that. We just don't want that to get to the players' heads, which, it's okay for fans and media to talk that way. That's why, man, I always said if I was a coach of any fucking team, I would have them not watch anything.
I mean, it's so hard to stop somebody.
I know, but I would try. I'd say, look, it's gonna just go into the game with our game plan. Don't listen to what any of these motherfuckers have to say, and just go in, have fun, and play football. And that's why, because you're right, things can get to people's heads, and sometimes it's actually positive when they do like the locker room material and shit.
Yeah, I mean, look, they're already talking like they're saying it right now, and I say they. I mean, I lump them all together at this point. But they're saying right now that if the Cowboys trip up either now or next week, that McCarthy's on the outs. Like, he's got 1 year left on his deal. Dak Prescott's a $60 million cap hit next year. Like, all year long, he's earned himself an extension. Don't get me wrong. I think that Dak Prescott is the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys until he says, I'm done with football, right? That's just the way it is. And the way to alleviate cap is you extend the guy, right? Because at first when we did it, we're kicking the can down the road.
Can we talk about the game?
Well, I'm talking about this game in regards to what is the likelihood.
Okay.
Like, are you confident in this team at home they're doing the whiteout, all the fans are there. Like, are you confident, Keith? How do you feel going into a game against a team that has historically been our bugaboo, right? Like, they have historically ruined our lives, like whether it be Aaron Rodgers with Jared Cook at the sidelines, or it be the Dez catch, no catch, like, and albeit this was all Rodgers, and we get that, but like LaFleur is a G when it comes to December football, January football. He's very good. Like, are you worried? Like, what's your worry level if you had to put like a meter of like a 1 to 10? And 10 being I'm fucking petrified. Where are you at right now on Tuesday as we record this? It could change throughout the week.
3.
Oof.
And
see, I like that kind of shit. When you say that, I'm like, okay, we're good.
It's something where you look at everyone brings up our well, and they have been recently, but this is a new dynasty. It's almost like for the Packers, that is. It's almost like if everyone remembers, Brett Favre was a 0-11 in Texas Stadium. Okay. He never won in Dallas. Every time he went. Okay. They didn't win there until they got fucked face, Aaron Rodgers. Okay. That came in and fucking, and has been a Cowboy killer there.
Jimmy Kimmel's #1 fan.
Yeah. So now you're down. Now we got Jordan Love. It's a new era. So, it's definitely, to compare and say, oh, the Packers have owned us. They've owned us. It's a different team now. The only thing that's still the same from Aaron Rodgers in the last few seasons is fucking Aaron Jones, which is goddamn scary as hell the way he's running the ball. But
now Aaron Jones is one of those guys that in December he did battle some injuries. There was a couple times where Dylan took the full load, but Aaron Jones has been running like a fucking demon now. So Brett, I ask you, where's your worry level when it comes to this game with all the PTSD that the Cowboys fans usually have?
4. I was going to say 4. Again, on paper, I love it. Dallas should win this game. I meant, look, I think Green Bay is the youngest team in the NFL right now.
They are.
They have a lot of talent. But Dallas, look, we couldn't have. I'm very happy the way we came into the playoffs. I think this was a great last game. The way we performed, we're fairly healthy. McCarthy, as much as I worry about his game management skills, he's been here before. I'm at a 4 on this. Again, anything could happen, but I don't see us losing this one. I told you, I got us going to the championship game and going to San Francisco.
Yeah.
But hopefully
we'll pick these other games in a bit. But again, Mike McCarthy aside, he's 36-15 in his last 3 years as the coach, right? So he's crushing the regular season. Last year, we all saw what happened. We won a playoff game. Great. On the road with the GOAT. His name is Dak Prescott, right? Like we all, at least I did. It was a fun, Keith side-eyeing me. It was a fun time. And then we ran into the buzzsaw known as the 49ers. And the year before that was the wild card, was the bullshit. We
ran into a buzzsaw that was ourselves. And again, San Francisco did not play well that game. We just played fucking awful. And, San Francisco's definitely a better team. Again, we can look ahead because if we win and which ways this is going to go, I'm not really sweating Green Bay that much. Am I a little nervous? Of course. It's because, you lose, you're done. And, anything could happen. But I don't see Dallas imploding this year like we did last year. I just don't.
Keith, when you look at the Packers matchup wise and everything, we'll pick the game before we end the show because I want to get into the other playoffs just before that, and then we'll pick it as the grand finale of our standings. But when you look at the Packers and them coming in, if the Packers come in and make Dallas trip up, is this the worst playoff loss of recent memory? No matter how it happens?
No. Not to me, it wouldn't be. No.
So the 2 losing to the 7 seed in the first round was not.
No. There's still the divisional Giants game.
That's a great question. Which one? Yeah. What game do you think is?
I think the Giants game. Even the Packer game that the Dez catch was tough, but that Giants game, man.
Yeah. When you're
I meant like worst, worst disappoint. Not toughest loss. No, we're like upset. You know what I mean?
Well, I think he said the Giants. Yeah,
I would go Carolina when Carolina beat us.
I'm sorry, bro. Yeah.
I'm not talking about the most emotionally devastating losses.
I got that one. That one's easy. It's when Arizona beat us in Dallas on a wild card when we beat them twice that year, and they came in. This was 98 or 99, and they beat us in Dallas. And we had everyone. And they came in and beat us. We were favored by like 10 or 11. So I would say that one there was the most depressing. Was it shocking though? Not really, because we barely got into the fucking playoffs. And Arizona played us really well in the second game. As a matter of fact, in the second game that season, if you look it up, right, we were up 28-0 on Arizona, right? 28-0 or something like that. And they came back. And then we finally won in the end, like 30-35 or 35-31 or something like that. It's fucking crazy. But they took that momentum, right? Hold on.
Yeah.
They took that momentum into the playoffs and just beat the fuck out of us in front of our home crowd in Texas Stadium. It was crazy. And earlier that year when we played them, Sturch, at our home.
I remember I was alive.
Yeah. We beat them like 38-3 or something. It was such a change of so weird.
My favorite part of Keith when he says something and he says or something like that, that's just like basically saying, guys, I'm not a fucking robot, I promise. Or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, and then if I look it up right now, I guarantee you're spot on right.
But I meant, so I would say that, but I would say, well, you're asking the original, the Green Bay one? No, I wouldn't compare that to the Arizona one.
I just look at this Cowboys team as a well-oiled machine at home, and to not lose at home. We talk about this all the time, and I know you do specifically, Keith, like the law of averages, right? Like, again, Brandon Aubrey, was he going to go perfect, right? The law of averages says every time he lined up after like making 25 in a row, like he's got to miss one eventually, right? And he never did until this week. Like the Cowboys, 16 in a row at home. Like you would think, all right, eventually this shit's got to stop, right? Like, like I'm looking at that like, okay, that's like when the Patriots were winning all the Super Bowls. Like somebody else got to win the East, right? Like somebody. And it didn't happen until fucking Tom Brady left, so, which is nuts.
Exactly.
But anyway,
But yeah, no, I wouldn't be. I mean, I would be upset. Obviously, it'd be very disappointing, but that wouldn't be the most disappointing loss, dude. Because another thing too, the reason why Bret's bringing up the Carolina game and I'm bringing up the Arizona game is those teams won Super Bowls. Like this team hasn't done shit. So I meant, yeah, it'd be disappointing and it would be upsetting, but it ain't going to be like, oh, okay, it's not like we're a Super Bowl team. We're not.
You don't think the Cowboys? Well,
no, you're missing my point.
You think in recent memory they have to win a Super Bowl to be considered a Super Bowl caliber team?
Well, I'm just saying this team isn't a super. I mean, it hasn't been a Super Bowl team, meaning they've let us down. I mean, this Dak Prescott led team has lost in the playoffs.
We have 27 years.
Yeah,
that's what he said.
So they got to prove us wrong, dude. And that's the whole thing I can't stand. I was listening to fuckface Baker Mayfield, man. I don't know why. I used to be a fan of him, but he's so annoying sometimes. These quarterbacks. He's like, yeah, no one believed in us but us. Like, of course they're not going to believe in you. You're fucking won 7 games in a goddamn fucking shitty division.
Do you know they're the only team? They're the only team in the NFL has been to the playoffs 4 straight years. Only team in the NFL.
But my point is that people are like, oh, they don't believe. We're not your fucking parents. We're fans.
No, you're as good as your last game. It's
just show us what you're show us. Instead of saying, oh, I'm not. Yeah, if you start out fucking 0-7 and you make the playoffs and say, oh, they didn't. I'm just saying. If you're a team that do that, say, oh, no one believed in us. Yeah, no shit. Anyways, and that's what I'm saying about the Cowboys right now. You get my point I'm saying about the Cowboys. I'm referring it to this because show us. Show us. You're like, oh, you're looking at me like, hold on, bro, let me finish. So Sturch is looking at me like, you don't think we're a Super Bowl team? That's what you were looking at me when I said that.
Because the definition of a Super Bowl team doesn't necessarily mean you have had to play in Super Bowls in previous years.
Yeah, but my point with Bret bringing up the Panthers and me bringing up Arizona was those teams won 3 fucking Super Bowls. That's why.
Okay, fine.
We haven't done shit. Yeah, we could look like a Super Bowl team.
So that's what I'm saying. The law of averages, or at least the way things have played out for the Cowboys in the last 27 years is that the expectation is for eventually to choke and to step on their own feet and figure it all out. Like, so when you got Stephen A. Smith out there saying,
here's what's annoying to me, sir, about not what you're saying, but just in general. Okay. Mm-hmm. Most of the teams that are in the playoffs have won Super Bowl in the past. I mean, San Francisco has the last time they won was before us. Right. I mean, so, this all applies to everybody. I mean, Detroit's never been, right? The Rams got, they were in 99, I guess. And then they won again. When was the last time they won? 2 years ago, 3 years ago?
A couple years ago with Stafford. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the Bucs, Eagles. Yeah, I guess. But, again, all of this is out the window once you make the playoffs. The fact that we won 16 home means fucking nothing. The fact that we suck on the road means nothing. The fact that San Francisco beat the shit out of us means nothing, right? It just depends on how you're playing when you're getting into the playoffs. We are on paper a solid Super Bowl contending team. But to my brother's point, we're not. We've been here 27 years. We end up with fucking nothing.
And to your point. And to your point, Bret, what you just said, it's all about getting hot at the right time. This and that. That's what scares me about the Packers. They didn't lose in December, right? They just fucking start steamrolling teams. LaFleur has never lost a game in the winter, right? So it's like, okay, so now all of a sudden you're coming into a controlled climate. You don't have to worry about the weather. You just go out there and execute your game. Look, again, without getting into predictions, I think the Packers are going to play very well against us. I really do. So just like, I don't think this is a fucking steamrolling match. I don't even, unfortunately, I don't think that. Can they prove us wrong? Sure, right? I didn't expect them to roll over some teams that they did this year the way they did, right? But it's all stemming on things, catastrophic event after catastrophic event. Go ahead, bro.
But look at who they played. I mean, they played the Bears, Minnesota, Carolina. Yeah, no,
their division stinks outside of Detroit. I get it. Like, I'm wondering who'd you beat, right? And who'd you lose to? They lost to the Raiders. They lost to the Broncos. They lost to some shit. They lost to fucking our Paisan on Monday Night Football, right? Like they lost that game. They played like shit that game, right? So like the Packers definitely have the ability to suck. Don't get me wrong, they do because they're 9-8. They're a 500 team.
They did December. Bucks killed them 34-20.
Yeah, I mean, they were, like I said, there were 2-6 at one point of the season.
No,
where
bro, when did that Bucks game happen?
December 17th.
They lost to the Bucks 34-20.
Yeah.
Oh, they lost the game in December?
That's what he's saying. Yeah, that's what Bret's saying. They did?
I don't think so. Why do I?
No, they did.
And it doesn't matter. All right. Before we get into the Packers and Cowboys actual predictions, and we have obviously dissected them as a whole, I do want to recap the NFL playoff predictions based off the beginning of the season. It was episode in September when we were going over our Cowboys predictions. I do want to say that with the 14 playoff teams, how many we nailed, right? How many did we collectively nail? Keith and Bret Ernst are officially 7 out of 14. So they went 50% playoff teams. I myself, not to toot my own horn, 9 of 14, 64%.
Oh, nice.
You know, so, and here's a couple of the tidbits that we kind of just, went over. We all had the Cincinnati Bengals winning the North. We all had the Jacksonville Jaguars winning the South. We all had the Jets winning the East, and we all know what happened with the Jets. So that's a three-way, consensus where we blew it, right? I'm the only one who had Baltimore as a playoff team. How about that? And they're the number one seed. And I had them as a wild card. So it's not like I had them winning the division because obviously I picked the Bengals. My AFC championship pick is still alive while you guys are not. Kansas City Chiefs are going in. So are they the best team? I don't think so, but whatever. We all had the Saints winning the NFC South, sorry. So that didn't happen, obviously. I'm the only one who had the Packers in the playoffs. So that's one of my separation. Me and Bret have our NFC championship still intact with the Dallas Cowboys. So we'll see if that plays out. I do want to throw out that I'm the only one who picked the 49ers to win the NFC West. Keith, your infatuation with the Giants just didn't play out right. And I want to say this, Keith, with all due respect, with all of your great predictions and stats and everything like that, you didn't get one fucking division right. Not one. I
can remember. Don't say anything. Ready? I got the Giants to win the East.
Yep.
I got the Bears to win the North.
Mm-hmm.
I got the Rams to win the West.
Mm-hmm.
And the South.
We all picked
the Saints.
Yeah, we all picked the Saints. I said it before.
Yeah. So then I remember that. Now the AFC, I don't remember the AFC as much.
Like I said, we all picked the Jaguar.
When we did the Ravens pick, though, see, that's the thing. When you do these things, we don't know. They were still with Lamar, not sure if he was coming back and all those kind of things at that time.
Are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure we predicted our season stuff like literally before we won.
No, it was really close. It was really close. And then the injuries and shit like that. So I don't know.
All I hear is fucking excuses. But
listen, bro, to me, and I'll bring this up again. The preseason shit is fucking trash.
But so that means every show under the sun who does the preseason shit.
We all do it there's nobody. If you could pull up anybody, I'm going to tell everybody, okay? The first defeated team, the Detroit Lions, okay? Peter King, or whatever the fuck his name is, for Sports Illustrated.
Peter King? Yeah.
The main NFL writer said the Lions were going to be in the NFC Championship that year. Now, this is a guy who gets fucking way over 7 figures writing for sports pages, okay? Right. Nobody knows. When you get into the season and you start seeing the rookies and you start seeing how these free agents are working out and you start seeing that's as you go on in the season is when those predictions should come about. Yeah. But now, I get it.
If Keith was 14-0, though, forget he'd be like, yeah, I'm an expert.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. If we went 14-0, I'd be like, everybody who predicted everything is not as good as me. So I'm the best. I'm the man. Anyway, so let's pick the other games before we pick the Packers and Cowboys game. So let's start in the AFC. The improbable happened. The Houston Texans won the AFC South. They're going to host the Cleveland Browns, which are obviously one of the better teams. It's a fun story. Joe Flacco, their defense balled out all season long. I'll start with Keith. Who do you got? Browns, Texans.
And
no spreads, just straight up. Who's going to win?
No, let's do this. Let's do both.
All right, because I don't know the spreads.
It's easy. I think that one's 2.5. That here, I'll just pull it up right now.
In any event, Texans, like I said, hosting a playoff game because the Jaguars tripped up and threw up all over themselves. at the end, trying to extend that fucking Michael Jordan type play, which is the dumbest thing I could have seen. But anyway, stick with it. Texans, Browns.
All right. So when I look at this game, I am in complete shock at how well CJ Stroud has played. And, and that's one thing I want to bring up from the predictions. We all picked Jacksonville. And I guarantee if we look, we all picked, if we did the whole division, Texans were probably last. Nobody believed in this kid. Yes, we're not his parents, but we had to see it. He fucking came out, except actually the Texans. The Texans believed in him. Because when they drafted him, if you go to draft grades from the experts, look what they gave him for taking CJ Stroud, which I kind of started to believe because, but then I saw him in preseason. But what I'm trying to say is there's a really good chance they can win this game. A really good chance. But Flacco in the playoffs, Flacco with this defense, which is reminiscent with the Ray Lewis defense when he was on the Ravens. Browns win.
Browns win. Now, the only thing I want to point out is also,
and they guys,
what I'm crazy shocked about is that the Browns did all of this with no Deshaun Watson throughout the course of the year, right? And then they figured it out with Flacco. B, Nick Chubb broke his fucking knee into a million pieces early in the year, and they still figured out the running game, and they still did their thing. It's just crazy how the Browns. I'm taking the Browns as well. I love CJ Stroud. I think the CJ Stroud is going to be a force to be reckoned with in that division. Him and Trevor Lawrence, and I don't even actually think Trevor Lawrence, he played like shit this year. I only know that because I'm a fantasy nerd, and I had him on like 3 of my teams, and I just shit the bed. But I will say that AFC South, especially now with Will Levis, and they just fired Mike Vrabel, so it's like there's going to be a lot of shifting going around in the AFC South. But I got the Browns and their defense to come through on this one. Brett, what do you say?
Yeah, I think what Keith said about Stroud is true. Kid's a great rookie, but I think Cleveland's a better team. They should end up beating them. I'm trying to look up the point spread. Yeah, so Cleveland is -2.5.
Yeah, I say they win and cover.
Yeah, I would take Cleveland in the points.
Sticking with now, there was one big seed that was remaining to be determined on Sunday Night Football, where it looks like, other than a couple special teams plays, Josh Allen did play his ass off, but it looks like Miami just kind of shit the bed overall. They had like 0 yards in the third quarter. It was just a weird, odd feeling. But the Dolphins now, because of that, have to go into 15-degree Kansas City exclusively on Peacock. Let's make sure everybody knows that you can only stream this game like a fucking bunch of rejects. It's so stupid. By the way, they did,
bro.
They did that. Listen, they did that because all the Swifties are going to fucking purchase Peacock over the weekend. Just
but you're missing the point. That's not it. Even Swifties or not, the whole thing is that we can all. I'm Swifties too, but fucking the whole thing is you have people, lower class fucking people that want to watch the game. That still have fucking antennas on their goddamn TV, and they're not going to be able. It used to be the playoffs are on fucking TV. That's
right.
It.
Right.
And it was always that way, and now they're getting greedy, and I fucking can't stand that shit, dude. Like they're not making enough money already. Fucking assholes. But anyways,
$5 for you to watch this game, or $6. So just imagine you get 1 million views. Guess what?
Oh.
The NFL makes $6 million.
Yeah, and I was going to say it's not just $5 or $6. Because you gotta buy a streaming box, right?
You gotta have a phone that's going to be able to do the stream, and you gotta have internet. There's so many things that come along with it. Sure, and you know what's funny? You know what's crazy, dude? And I know this based off of knowing people who have run streaming networks. Streaming networks, and this is no offense to the people that I work with, but like streaming people are banking on you forgetting about the fact that you paid $5 a month. So basically, what they're saying is, for all you guys that are about to buy Peacock, and you're like, just cancel it right after the game. Guess what? You ain't canceling. You're going to forget about it and hang again the next month. Yeah. It's going to be crazy. But anyway, back to the game at hand. The Dolphins are going into frigid Kansas City. I'll start with Brett this time. Kansas City Chiefs have not played their best football over the course of this year. We all know that. Kansas City has struggled to find their key receiver. A couple times, Travis Kelce went missing. A couple times, Isaiah Pacheco runs like he's angry at the earth. I love the way that kid runs. How do you see this one playing out in Kansas City on Saturday night?
Without the points or just straight up?
I don't know the spread. What's the spread?
Do both.
-4. Straight up. I honestly think Miami might pull an upset here, man.
Really?
I'm not. Yeah, Miami's been playing pretty well, man, and Kansas City to me hasn't. I mean, unless they just kick it into their last gear, you know what I mean, and just step it up again. They really haven't been that impressive to me, Kansas City, and I think, to be honest with you, they're pretty evenly matched. It's a tough one. I'm going to just go with Miami for the upset.
Okay. And obviously, you got the fourth. Yeah. So okay. Miami to cover in the win. Right.
Okay. Yeah, take Miami in the money line. I mean, that's just me being fun.
Keith?
You know what I mean?
Well, considering the Dolphins have lost, I don't know how, Bradley Chubb, they've lost so many defensive players. I'm not sure if Waddle's going to be playing, and if he does, if he's
how effective.
Right. They already played earlier this year in Kansas City and lost 21-14 with everybody healthy, the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm.
They do suck against good teams, except us, obviously, because that's how it is. Their fucking field goal kicker. Their fucking field goal kicker doesn't make 150-yard field goal all goddamn season and makes 3 against us. That's just how it is, guys. Welcome. Yep.
Get used to it. Welcome to Cowboys Nation. Go
ahead. Anyways, so annoying. So fucking
PTSD. That is fine.
Motherfucker, dude, 53. Oh, 55. He hasn't made a 30-yard field goal all season.
Jason Sanders lining up for a 57-yarder this time, and it's a chip shot. It's like beautiful. Love it. Great. Good for you.
The best was watching that game with Keith and his glasses on, and he just is a totally different person.
Yeah.
He had his legs crossed watching the game going, that's interesting. The odds.
He's got the pinky out when he's taking his White Claw. Yes.
But all that being said, I do like the Chiefs, and I like them to cover.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the Chiefs too. I picked the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl in the West, in the AFC. Clearly, they're not the same team as they once were. They're definitely lacking in the passing department. But Patrick Mahomes, I'm sure, will roll his ankle at some point and pretend he's hurt for about 3 quarters, and then all of a sudden bust out a 54-yard scamper and get up and be okay miraculously. Look, Mahomes is still the best until you tell me he's not, until you prove me otherwise. Miami has run into the buzzsaw known as the road game in December in cold weather where they can't be with Miami, or in Miami, going to any malls and getting run out of the mall by a fucking alien. What?
What's funny is I like Miami's chances getting against Kansas City than getting into than playing Buffalo again. I think this worked out better for them, believe it or not.
All right. Well, I'm going to go with Kansas City, and the lone duck here is Bret with the Dolphins. So sticking with the AFC, last matchup there, the Bills got themselves the AFC East with their win over Miami in Week 18. They got the Steelers, who had officially ruled out TJ Watt. I look, the Steelers, fun story, great to see. What's this guy get another winning season? Hasn't had a losing season. That's great. But the fun run's over. I don't give a shit how many fucking miraculous catches Pickens has. Bills are going to roll in this game. I think this might be the blowout of the weekend. I like the Bills to win. Keith?
There you go. This point spread is -10.
Yeah, I think they cover, to be honest.
What's that?
I say they cover that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a double-digit spread. It's hard not to think that they're not going to come out. But if you remember last season, I believe a wild card, they had Miami without Tua. I think they were down to their 3rd-string quarterback, Miami, and they almost beat Buffalo in Buffalo. That was a double-digit spread.
It wasn't Mike White, was it?
No. Mike White was still on the Jets. Mike White.
Okay. Mike
White. What's your name? Deshaun Watson. What's your name? Mike White.
Generic. Oh my god.
Fucking most generic name ever. All right. So I like how I did a fucking what's from Good Times with Jimmy Walker. I was like, Deshaun Jackson.
It's Deshaun Watson, by the way.
He doesn't even talk like that. It's so bad.
Not even close.
Right. Yeah, no. Well, either does Mike White. He doesn't talk like that either. So all right.
You covering?
So my thing with this is their offense, since Mason Rudolph has taken over, has played very, very well. And I mean, they beat the Bengals, who have a pretty good defense. They beat some teams. Their defense is missing TJ Watt, but TJ Watt went out last week too, and they still were able to slow down I know Lamar-less Ravens, but still.
It's the wish version of Lamar that was playing in that game.
let's remember this. Let's hear this right now. Ever since Mason Rudolph has started, they beat the Bengals, who were still in the playoffs. Okay. 34-11 with Mason Rudolph.
Okay.
At Seattle, when Seattle needed the game, 30-23 with Mason Rudolph. And then the Ravens game 17-10. So what's stuck in everyone's head, and I get it, is how fucking them and the Jets had the most annoying fucking offense all season. Because you had all this talent with a shitty fucking quarterback.
It felt like it was inept, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you saw, oh, wow, they got Breece Hall for the Jets. And, they got the one dude, the rookie receiver. But they had these fucking, and you're like, oh, shit. And then their quarterback is generic. Now that's what was happening with the Steelers. You got Pickens, you got fucking Najee Harris. They have a good tight end that I forgot how to pronounce his name.
Freiermuth.
Yeah, I bet, but they weren't moving. But now you got a seasoned guy, which, who started for them before. He was controversial with the Myles Garrett thing, that Myles Garrett tried to hit him over the head with the helmet. I like them to cover. I think the Bills win, but I think the Steelers recover, man. And I think that how Vegas is playing this is based on the whole season, because Bret says they throw numbers in. But if you look, their last 3 games, 2 of those were playoff implications, and they put up 30 plus points. So
fair.
I'm going with the Steelers to cover, Bills to win.
Got it. Bret. Who's been the giggle machine over there looking for bugaboos?
No, yeah, I mean, I think Buffalo I don't know if they cover, but I think they win.
Okay.
Dynamite.
There you go. Dynamite dropping.
Am I taking too much time on these?
No. I like the in-depth stuff, and Bret's like, yeah, whatever he said was bullshit.
Go ahead.
No, I'm saying, look what Buffalo did to us. They're a good team. They beat Miami. I mean, again, you're at home, so
home cooking
on
paper. It'd be 6 points in neutral. They'd be up 6 points on neutral ground. I just think on paper, they should win.
Yeah. The most intriguing matchup and fun matchup that me and Keith want to enjoy, but it all depends on what the Cowboys do. But the Rams have played some good football down the stretch. They're going to be at Detroit. Dan Campbell, which, by the way, generic ass fucking screen pass call to the fucking eligible tackle last week, just to kind of rub it in your face, like, see, told you we can run this play.
Can I say something really quick? The more it sits with me, the more annoying it is how everybody is not even realizing how fucked Dallas would have been on either on the tripping penalty, and then even the fact that they announced 70 eligible. So if they counted that, Dallas had nobody fucking covering them. Okay. Prior to that, they wouldn't even have been in that fucking situation if it wasn't for the phantom call. And these people still keep trying to make Detroit over as they got fucked. We got fucked twice. If they counted that, we would have got fucked twice. It's annoying that they keep bringing it up.
No, bro, they're renting out fucking billboards in Detroit, and I'm that.
Yeah, what a bunch of it's a loser mentality. It's just a loser.
It so is over a regular season game.
Bro, they when the guy walked into the building, I guess 68, like, and they took a picture of him and they put it on their own social media, like, Skipper, like, reporting for the game. And then, like, he replied, "That's not me." And then they're like, "Oh, my bad. This is you," like a whole nother guy. Like, they're making fun of it, which is fine. But at the same time, they're kind of like, we know we should have won, but let's have some fun with it.
They don't understand. The ref told them that 70's eligible. They announced it. Nobody's covering this nobody's covering this guy. And then on top of that, you had a phantom fucking tripping penalty that they shouldn't even have had the ball. It's just gross. Anyways, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's all good. The Rams at Lions. We'll start with Bret. You're on fire about the Lions. Might as well pick the game. Lions won the North, first time since fucking, I don't know, I was like 6 since they did it. So it's been a while. The Rams been playing good offense, good defense. Like, they just been playing a better looking football. Puka Nacua sets all the records. Kyron Williams has been running his ass off. The Rams are good. And honestly, it was my dad, me, and a couple other. I didn't want anything to do with the Rams in the first round because I think they're lethal when they get going. Does Stafford come back to Detroit and win this game, Brett?
This is a real tough one. It really is, because I mean, again, I had my eye, I'm at the casino watching the game. So I'm watching the Rams against San Francisco, but, they don't have their starters, but they played great. Detroit, on the other hand, is playing good football, but this one is up in the air. I mean, I could see the Rams pulling an upset here. I mean, and it's not a big upset because Detroit's only -3.5. So they're, according to Vegas, so if they were on neutral ground, the Rams would be favored by the hook.
Yeah,
well, it'd be 0.5. Really. It'd be 0.5.
You always say 4. I say 3. I always think that all right, well, whatever.
I mean, that's what they're spotted.
All right, so you got the Rams going in there with the upset over the Detroit.
I think the Rams can upset Detroit. I think it's an interesting game. It could go either way, but I would take the Rams with the points anyways.
I'm with you. I think the Rams are the better team going in. I think the Lions have been susceptible to a couple bad, call it breaks, call it games, call it whatever you want. I just think the Rams are a better team. And then I think that the Rams, I mean, obviously not getting ahead of myself, but the Rams pose a threat to the 1 seed. They really do. So, I like the Rams to potentially be representing in the NFC title game. That's how much I like the Rams in this game. I think they handle business, and I think the Rams get it done. Stafford beats Goff. So, Keith, what say you, bro?
It's funny because that was my NFC West winner, and now everyone fucking loves them, right? You clowned me all fucking year, and now they're going to be in the NFC Championship. That's great.
I'm just saying, a lot different story than it was in the beginning.
All right. So, yeah, and that is the big thing that you kind of brushed on it, but let's all remember there was a trade for Jared Goff to go to Detroit for Matthew Stafford. Okay. And when they sent them to Detroit was fucking awful. I think their season, they were 3-13 or whatever.
I would think that was Campbell's first year. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they were just shit. They sent them there to pretty much NFL graveyard. Good night. Die. Pretty much. And look where he's at. I mean, this is a Hollywood script before it got all fucking generic out there with their scripts. But this is how the scripts used to be.
This is when the Academy Awards meant something.
Except there's a chick playing both of them.
Yeah. Chick playing Goff and a fucking and Andy Dick is playing fucking
what's even better. No, what's even better is it's not even a white guy playing. It's not even
yeah, exactly.
Like, you're Matthew Stafford. Like, how the fuck am I Matthew Stafford? Just shut up and go with it. That's hilarious. But go ahead.
Anyways, but that being said, now the one thing I look at, I'm like, and I'm thinking Lions revenge game. Goff is like, fuck this, that, and the whole thing, man. That stadium is going to be going crazy.
Atmosphere is going to be nice, yeah,
crazy. And they're going to be. I bet you Matt Stafford gets a standing ovation.
Sure.
And he's coming home too, which a lot of people, like, they're not really bringing that up, but he still has respect for Detroit. He doesn't hate Detroit.
Right.
But why would McVay get rid of Goff? Why did he not want Goff? And why did McVay get Stafford and go to a Super Bowl with him? Okay. He might know some weaknesses there. I'm just saying, he might know how to come after Jared Goff. Okay,
I think everybody does. Don't you say that about when the Cowboys play the Lions? Like, there's two different versions of Goff.
My point. No. The reason I'm saying that with McVay is because he coached him from his rookie year, 5 seasons in, and he got rid of Jared Goff. So what I'm trying to say is McVay knows Goff very, very well, and he's going against him now. And he might know his weaknesses and all those things. So I know everyone else is saying on paper and all this shit. I go a different route. That's why I'm taking the Rams. I think I believe that the time with McVay, him knowing what passes to take away from Goff, him knowing what Goff's best route is that he likes to hit and where he force him to throw a certain way, those kind of things. That's why I see the Rams winning.
Okay. So we all got the Rams winning this game in an upset, I guess you could say, because they're not favored. So, okay. So other NFC matchup before we get to the Cowboys and Packers, The Eagles, who have completely fallen from grace. I don't know what to describe this as other than happiness in my in my mind. To see the Eagles fall this way was incredible. A lot of fun to see it. The fan base is up in arms. They're talking about trying to fire Sirianni after talking about him having his statue outside the link. It's been crazy times in Philadelphia. But from what everybody's saying, the Eagles are in a good situation right now because they get the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And why I will say this, and I'll pick this game first. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home are a much different team than they are on the road. They beat the Panthers 9-0 in a game they needed to have, right? So it's like they're looking at it like, what the fuck is wrong with this offense? You know, Mike Evans is still Mike Evans. Chris Godwin can get hot. Rashad White scores every week at some point. Baker Mayfield, as generic as he is, interview-wise, I still think Baker Mayfield can get this done. I'm picking the Bucs to win this game at home. The Eagles have not shown me anything to say that they're going to be a threat in the playoffs. If they do win this game, great. I invite that if the Cowboys can pull it off, right? I invite the fucking Eagles to come into AT&T. We're not there yet, but I will say I got the Bucs in this one. I think they're a better team at home. I think the free fall continues and the questions rise after the season's over. Is Sirianni even the guy for us as a coach for the Eagles? Give me the Bucs. Fuck the Eagles. That's how I'll put that one. Keith, how do you see this one playing out?
Jalen Hurts is definitely going to play. I don't know. Everybody's saying is that, he pretty much dislocated. That middle finger was gnarly, dude.
They said he avoided fracture.
Yeah, but that people say that, and then after he really wasn't healthy after they lose.
AJ Brown might be hobbled.
AJ Brown. But you know what? I'm putting this one on the Eagles' defense to win this game for them. Not necessarily their offense. Their defense has been playing like shit. I get that, but and then it's Baker Mayfield. I mean, you bringing up how well he did at home. They had a win or lose scenario against the Saints at home 2 weeks ago, and he was fucking terrible.
Fair.
He was terrible. I just see that. I see the Eagles, all the noise getting to him, man. And they're still the NFC champs, dude. They still started out 10-1.
Yeah, finished 11-6. That's a bad skid, bro.
I know.
And lost to a bunch of bad.
But they also started
teams.
out 10-1, and they also. I get that I know what their fucking record is right now. Thank you. I'm just saying.
No, but I'm saying, look at how they finished. Is what I'm saying. You want to talk about playoffs and getting in and being hot,
but there's different things that go into that, man. You're going into an Arizona game. You're going into a New York game. You're supposed to win. You're all these fucking things. And there's dissension. There's some dissension in the locker room. They're having closed door meetings. We don't fucking know. All I know that's a fact is why I'm bringing this up. And, it's almost like you're getting upset that I'm picking them.
No, I don't give a shit what you do.
I'm just saying, do I want them to lose? Yeah. But I'm telling you that I'm not just going to sit there and say, oh, they're NFC champ. No, I'm telling you why. And those are the reasons why that I think that their defense and they're going to step up. And I think that they win this game. And that's it. So obviously, and they cover. Go ahead.
All right. Brett, how do the Eagles do in Tampa Bay?
I mean, it's a tough one. I mean, they've definitely been not playing well. I mean, if you're going to look at the two, it's Philadelphia's on, the down, Tampa's on the up. But when you get to the playoffs, you got to look at what these teams are capable of and who they are. And like my brother said, they started 10-1. They are the NFC champs. I mean, but these last three games were must wins for them. You know what I mean? They had to win in order to win the East, and they kept sliding. And it's tough, man. But I'm going to go with a blank slate, and I think Philadelphia pulls it out. I think they win.
Okay, that would put Philadelphia as potentially the. I can't even say lowest seed to win. We'll figure it out as it plays out. But let's get on to the main event. Obviously, Sunday, 4:25, AT&T Stadium. The Dallas Cowboys hosting the Green Bay Packers. The Cowboys, we already said, favored by 7.5 points. So Vegas thinks they should win by a touchdown. What's up?
Can I bring one more thing up really quick?
Sure.
And this is why this is important.
You ruined my lead in, but go ahead.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm kidding.
Is that having Philly at this position and being where they're at, they can, go ahead.
No, I'm saying, are you in the mindset of thinking that the Philadelphia Eagles can turn it on right now? Is that what you're saying?
They could very possibly turn it on, and then it just
they got
throws
the tools
a
to do it.
monkey wrench. I know.
I get it. I get it. They got the tools to do it. The rushing team, they're a good team. I mean, look, they just shit the bed when they needed it the most. You can't tell me that, like, there was even some guys that are like, Cowboys probably should have took the 5th, because like, it's Tampa. Like, it's, you want the games at home, obviously, for the Cowboys' sake, but like, I don't know. Look, the Eagles did start 10-1, so they do have the tools to be a good team and run a team out. I just think the last month of the year, last month of the season, the Eagles have looked like shit. That's all.
And the offensive coordinator too, leaving the Eagles and going to the Colts. That's been huge because I was reading something like how many times they went in motion, like with that offensive, with that head for the head. I can't remember the head coach for the Colts, but compared to now, they're like their offense has become a little basic. There's not much, misdirection, confusion like they used to have. So that plays into it as well. So I don't know. I'm just, like I said, I think the defense is going to kind of step up in this game. I just have a feeling.
Okay. So now we move on. AT&T Stadium, Sunday night, 4:25 start. The Dallas Cowboys, 7.5-point favorites over the Green Bay Packers. I'll start with Bret. On this one. What did the Cowboys do? What's the score? And are we moving on to the second round?
Dallas should beat Green Bay. I think we win pretty soundly. I would say, maybe a 24-10 type game. Okay. Here's my next question to you guys, though. Let's say we win, which I think we will. And let's say the Rams beat Detroit and Philly beats Tampa. Who do we see? Philly, right?
Yeah.
No. Philly's the lower seed, aren't they?
No, they're the highest.
Oh, that's right. I thought they were the lowest.
We would see Philly, we would actually see Philly or Tampa if the Rams win.
Yeah.
So we need. I would want Tampa to beat. We need Tampa to win. I would rather see Tampa.
Why do you think I'm like so passionate about this? Like, please, for the love of fucking God, Tampa win this game. I don't want to see Philly for the third time. Just don't.
Which is exactly why it's not going to happen.
Right. So we would need if the Rams win and we have Tampa win, that's great. That's what we need. Because then either that, we're gonna have to see Detroit again.
Hey, listen, Campbell said it in his post game. We'll see those guys in a couple weeks. And I was just like, what's he talking about?
All right, we need the Rams. We need the Rams to win, and we need Tampa to win.
Yes. So, and guess what? We're not gonna know any of that shit until our game is played. So we have to and none of that shit matters because we got to take care of business. Bret seems to think 24-10 the Cowboys beat the Packers. I don't see it that way.
We're going to be following the momentum. I mean, it's the playoffs. It's a whole new. It's just new life, man. And and we're fairly healthy, thank God. I do want to pull up some guys to fill. What's that guy's name? Fajoko or whatever. Get him on the D line.
I mean, we got Hankins back, which is big last week. They really did do well against the run. That was a big piece. And we needed Big Hankins back for the playoff run. So now, Keith, Bret's got him 24-10 victors. How do you see this one playing out?
So the once again, the rushing attack scares me. I'm worried about our defensive game plan. I'm hoping Quinn comes with something. What I would do is put 8 in the box, 8 or 7 in the box, go man, and just let Jordan Love try to beat you. I bet. Look, he's not the most accurate guy. He has some good passes, but if we watching the condensed version of the Bears game, a lot of those passes he's completing. The people are wide open. Wide open. When somebody's actually on someone, that's where it gets a little difficult. So yeah, I mean, we're Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon, man, and you guys, nobody's listening to me about Damone Clark. It's scary. I'm telling you. And it's something else I kind of knew, but so when a quarterback goes to the line and they're like kill, people think that it's a pass and they're going to run now. But that's not what it is. That might
be
just
killing the first play.
No. So what it is mostly is, and I just know this because I was listening to the football guy talk about it, is that most of the time they're going to run, say they're going to run to the right through the 1 or 2 gap, whatever. When they say kill, they're going the opposite way. So basically the quarterback's going up and they have a player where they're like, okay, there's the weakness. Kill, run towards that motherfucker. Okay. That's what scares me about this a little bit, is because guess who number 33 is?
Aaron
It's not
Jones.
Tony Dorsett. It's Damone Clark. And that's kill. Okay. I'm hoping they bring up Damian Harris. Hopefully he gets into the game a little bit. Damian Wilson, sorry. And, we also have other linebackers in there. I saw number 57 that was Bond. Didn't really know his name in that game. But
Luke Gifford?
No.
I know it's not Luke Gifford.
No, he's still making his country album in Nashville right now. Luke Gifford. But no. So anyways, stack the box. Take the run away. Get as much help as you can. Go, man. Put the game in Jordan Love's fucking hands. All right. And it used to be back in the day when you had a rookie quarterback, it was over. Like Troy Aikman goes 1-15. Even Terry Bradshaw went 1-13.
He's not a rookie. Let's call it out.
I'm just saying, let me finish. I'm just saying, back in the day when you're a rookie, that's how it was. John Elway, Peyton Manning, fucking all of them, until Ben Roethlisberger comes along, right? Who beat us his rookie year in Texas Stadium. And then you get that's what I was thinking. Jordan Love's a rookie. He's coming to our fucking stadium in a playoff. A rookie quarterback's going to beat the Dallas Cowboys. And then I'm like, wait a second. Joe Flacco was a rookie when they came in the fucking Texas Stadium and beat us our last game.
Closed us out.
Fucking RG3 comes in on Thanksgiving and kills us his rookie year. So throw that out the window. But all that being said, I think we beat the shit out of him.
Jesus Christ. You got to score?
I said, once again, I said it last week. We're going to score somewhere in the 30s. That's what I said. And we did.
How much we giving up?
I would say between 17 and 13, maybe.
Okay. I think, all right, so both you guys got sound wins, right? I think I look at bigger picture, right? And I look at what has been talked about already in the media. Dan Quinn's got interviews to line himself up to be a head coach somewhere. He's probably walking out the door if Mike McCarthy's back next year, right? He's not going to wait again. Dan Quinn also can't fuck up because that's going to fuck up his chances to become a head coach. He has to win this game. Dan Quinn has to dial it up. We know what the offense could do. We saw Dak Prescott lead the league in touchdowns. We saw, CeeDee Lamb become this elite wide receiver. We saw the emergence of Jake Ferguson. We see what happens when we have all of our offensive line in it. I think the Cowboys are going to score some points. Don't get me wrong. 28th against the run, Pollard's going to eat. I think they're going to score a lot of points. It's a matter of how many big plays Jordan Love has. Will there be any balls over the top where we're like, how the fuck did he get behind him like that? And we're seeing the back of his nameplate, right? With that being said, I think I in my heart of hearts think that this Dallas Cowboys team is primed to go on a run, a significant run, more than I've seen the Dallas Cowboys do in the last 25 to 30 years, right? With that, I think the Cowboys could score 31, but I think they're going to give up 20, 23. I think this one's going to be closer than people think, and it's going to fucking drag my soul around for a beating. But I got the Cowboys to win this game and get to the second round. We all do collectively.
And we all have them covering.
I think, 31-23, that would be 8. Yeah, they cover there. But again, 8, is Jordan Love going to get on the field and have a chance to fucking come down there and tie the game at the end? You got to dial this up. And when I dial this up defensively for the Cowboys, they got a guy that they're calling a generational player. He needs to be the best version of himself to get Jordan Love flustered. He still is a young quarterback. He still is prone to make some mistakes, but he's also going to make some big plays. He is. And I think the Packers might. I think the recipe for this one is to get up. You win that toss, go get the ball. Get the ball and score, right? Set that tone. Enough of that double dip bullshit. I don't want to hear it. Get the ball and score some points. Because if they get behind on the Packers, I'm talking 10 to 13 points for whatever reason, I don't like it. I don't like the Cowboys to be a comeback team this year. They have to get control of the ball quick, early, do it, win the game. So.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it, Sturch. I mean, look, again, this game right here, I think Dallas, we jump ahead and we sit. Yeah, don't sweat it, man. It should
24-10 is the people sitting. You said 24-10.
I'm assuming he means sit means like coast and get it done and just
No,
not
I
like
think he
sit on
means-
the bench.
No, he means like rest players, right?
Like fourth quarters, just start sitting people.
Man,
Yeah, it's got to be a little higher than that.
yeah, it does. But
And that's
again,
what I'm saying. I'm saying you're going to get hat Dak. You're getting hat Dak in this game.
fourth quarter hat deck. All right, listen, your words to God's ears, to God watching over his favorite team at AT&T Stadium. We'll see how it all plays out. We will, win or lose, be back here next week to break it all down, whether either we're packing our bags for the season or we're talking about a second round divisional matchup coming up next weekend. So for Dave Sturchio, Bret Ernst, Keith Ernst, this has been another episode of the Jersey Boyz Podcast. Let's go Cowboys. Get it the fuck done. And we'll see what happens next week. See y'all later.
Hey, this is Tony Soprano, and you're listening to Jersey Boyz Podcast with your hosts, Dave Sturchio and the Ernst boys. I mean, I could give a shit about the Cowboys. We're in New Jersey. These guys got balls being Cowboys fans in Jersey. Anyways, enjoy. Or whatever.
How about them Cowboys?